Hey guys, what's up? It's Shla coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Shla. And already today, I really was tested with this whole I'm always gonna be mindful of staying positive and it's usually other people, and I think the other people closest to me who always manage to just push it. And it shouldn't really be that way, but I think I've explained a couple times now at this point. Usually, what I end up going through, it's just that when it comes to things like etiquette and thoughtfulness, I notice a lot of things or think a lot of things, and then as a result, treat people in a very good way. And I think a lot of it just kind of goes unnoticed because people don't see it. Like when they read it or when they hear it, it doesn't mean that much to them. And then they don't reciprocate, obviously, maybe because they don't really care, or even if they do care, maybe they're just not really thinking about it that much. I'm not sure exactly how else to explain this phenomena I go through. But there's certain people where I can tell they're not putting in any effort to change. And it's very fatiguing to go through that. Because I know they're not trying to change. And even if they say, like, I guess it's true. I mean, some people just don't change, even if you do everything you can to explain where you're coming from very clearly, and even if what you're saying or doing makes rational sense. And so I don't really know what the conclusion is, but I promised myself I was really going to focus on transmuting and stop with the gloominess and stop with the negativity. But it didn't take much for me to get there again. So we lost today. But there were other points in the day I was mindful of it. And so we're making progress. And like I said, it probably took me months of trying to be conscious of that. To articulate it better if I'm not doing a good job, I'm basically running this experiment where anytime something that I would react negatively to, I'm trying to... And well, no, not would. I mean, I do. Like, something happens and then I react negatively to it. And then I'm trying to remember, oh no, like, no, this is fine. Like, oh no, that's fine. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to do that. Every single time something happens that I get upset about, and I start thinking, I start saying, oh my gosh, but I try to think, like, hold on. No, this is actually good because, and I try to think of a reason how it's actually good, even though I don't actually think that yet. And we're running that experiment and just seeing what happens, because I've done it before, and it eventually creates an entirely different person. And I have created a person like that before. So I'm seeking to do it again, as I've been put through so much that I don't know. I guess I just feel like I don't feel like fooling around anymore, you know? My time of fooling around is just not. It's time to kind of try to figure this stuff out and be more mindful of things again, because I've been there before, you know? And I was thinking so much today, so much positivity, and it just takes one person to really bring that down. And it's difficult. You know, it's difficult to deal with that, but for next time I have to remember to just be better. You know, cuz that's ultimately it's something I'm aware of, and I probably just have to do. I mean, can be toxic, but it is true. I mean, you really can't change other people, but I can still be better. And it doesn't really matter how much better I already am. It's just like, I have a feeling that's how it's going to be for a lot of my life, because if you're more conscientious, it's always going to fall on you, and some type of guilt is always going to fall on you, not the other person. You know what I mean? So I just think it's always going to be like that, where when it comes down to any argument or any disagreement or any hurt that ever happens, it's just going to fall on me to try to sort it. It's not, the other person is not going to be able to, I just can't expect other people to be there. You know, it's just, there's always going to be, well, I shouldn't even say that. No, because this is all getting back to, it's still being negative. What I'm saying is still negative. Okay. See, like, I'm so used to slipping into that. I mean, it could be real. It could be a real thing that we project our thoughts out, and they do affect other people and whatnot. You know, and I've said it before. I mean, whether that's true or not, it definitely feels better as a belief. Like, even just saying that, like, it feels better. And I don't know why it really matters, because it's patience is all that is gonna, like, if I change what I just said, and I just asserted that people are there for me emotionally. People are. Who's to say that isn't true without patience? Because even if I lived my whole life and died, and that never appeared to be true, I would still feel better for having thought that. Right? And there's no way to prove otherwise, that it isn't true. Like, it could be tomorrow that something really good happens, or somebody is really kind to me. Someone, I mean, it could happen right now. I don't even know. So why? It's all this point that I guess I feel like I get too led on is the issue. And then I get upset. So okay, sorry, because I'm processing a lot right now. So the problem is when I do that, I'm purposely trying to lower the expectation so that I don't get hurt, because I get hurt when people don't follow through. Like, that's very hurtful to me. When I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do and somebody doesn't follow through, it hurts me. So I try to lower my expectations, and that's why I was projecting what I was saying earlier. I was saying, oh, well, I guess it's just something I'm going to have to contend with, and I guess this is just... Why should I believe that, though? Why wouldn't patience be a better virtue anyway? And just thinking that things are fine and things are going to work out. I don't know why I wouldn't think that way. And that's with this stuff, this law of attraction stuff. It's tricky, it's difficult, but I don't know why I shouldn't do it, because the truth is I would feel better. I know there's probably downsides. There's delusion, there's a separation from reality. There is what I said, which is basically leading yourself on to think that these great things are going to happen, and then when they don't. But I don't even know if it's worth thinking about any of that stuff, because I think it just comes all the way back to patience. And just kind of being a baby versus maintaining the same belief system. Because there's no reason why, just because one time, like, that's part of the whole process, is every single thing that happens to me, I need to try to put a positive spin on it. And so that includes when somebody would not meet my expectations. And so the whole thing falls apart. I've constructed a lot of these defensive beliefs in an attempt to try to make myself feel better, but I don't think it's good. I even think a lot of these beliefs about people are not necessarily good, projecting out that people are terrible. I mean, what if I just don't think that anymore? What if I think people are good? Is there a problem with that? What's somebody going to do to me? I know it's getting into Delulu territory, but I just don't, I think at this point in my life, I want to go there. Because so many people, they already don't operate coherently anyway. Like, I feel like we could make the argument that lots of negative thoughts are kind of incoherent from our own perspective. They're basically Delulu in the other direction, but we don't really realize it because it's normalized. I mean, think about how ridiculous it would be to be afraid of getting in a car accident, which is obviously something, especially knowing me and my brain, and it's something that was on my mind a lot when I was a driver in my Mini Cooper, my old super tiny early 2000s Mini Cooper. The original revision, not the original, but the first revision they made, worried that somebody's car was gonna like scrape me or something, drive too close. And that's why I was obsessed with owning a small car, because I thought other people can't drive right and they have two big cars so I need to overcompensate by having a small car. I think that alone probably illustrates kind of how I act in life, and it's an overcompensation for what I perceive other people to be doing. But then, of course, it never happened. Nothing's ever happened. You see what I'm saying? So what good does it do, and what sense does it make? Because it's entirely possible that I could go through my whole life and just never get in a car accident, or like not like a accident, but like a fender bender. It's easily possible that I'll just always drive safe. And so what's the point, and what's the reason to worry about things that might not even happen? You know what I mean? And I get that there's a certain logic to it where if you're in a dangerous area, you don't want to just prounce around like, you have nothing better to do. But think about that. I mean, really, where does anxiety get us? It has not gotten me anything, and it's something that I think at this point I've gotten, my anxiety's better, but it's still not fixed, But I think it's so, to maintain the experiment, I'm not even following it fully. Because in order to follow it fully, not only would you expect the other person to be better, but you would also react positively to when they don't. And that's the problem. I'm not doing that. I'm not pulling the trigger all the way. I'm just pulling it halfway, and then all the credit's gone. So I'm realizing that now. We can try it, but there are some concerns that I have. I mean, obviously you could let somebody really mistreat you because you're being very kind, and then most people don't really think like this, so. But we'll see. I'm gonna let you guys know. But at least there's some progress being made and some realizations. I think that's a very good thing. I'm trying to think. I don't know if there was... Oh, yeah, I was going to say something. I've just really been thinking about ice cream and pizza a lot recently. During the day, it's just constantly on my mind. Ice cream and pizza. Just constantly thinking about it. And for some reason, it's soft serve ice cream, too. Which is not it's nothing special, but I just can't get it off of my mind, and I really want to go to Dairy Queen. I almost want to try to convert to an exclusively ice cream lifestyle at this point. Just living off of ice cream alone. And specifically soft serve, living off of soft serve ice cream alone. I just want to eat so much of it, and it's weird, like, because I don't think I ever really liked soft serve particularly. I was always more of a hard serve kind of guy, and I don't know what's came over me. Another thing is, I was always a vanilla guy. Vanilla was always my favorite ice cream, but now I feel like I might be a chocolate ice cream guy. And it's strange. I mean, I would have never thought that would happen. And again, I'm not sure yet, but... And then I'm thinking about pizza a lot. And I'm just having these, like, urges to deeply indulge, you know? And I think it's because I never do, right? I've said this before, but there are some people who get a pizza multiple times a week. People have dinner. I don't even have dinner. I don't know if I explained explicitly before. I probably did, but just as a reminder, I have a very strict 2-meal-a-day protocol that I follow. So I eat once about 30 minutes to an hour after I wake up, which is, fairly early. I wake up pretty early. And then my second meal is at 1 p.m. And then that's it. Because you're not supposed to eat near when you sleep. You kind of want to eat as far away from when you sleep as possible. So it's just, the more the better, pretty much. Of course, you can't. So, like, let's say I do 1 p.m. right now. Maybe I could do 12, and if I did 12 p.m. and I wasn't hungry when I went to sleep, then I should probably just do 12. You see what I'm saying? If I could eat at 11 a.m. and then I'm not hungry when I go to sleep, probably should eat at 11 a.m. But it's probably different for different people. But then, of course, 10 a.m., what if I eat then? And then now I'm hungry going to bed and it's disrupting my sleep. You see what I'm saying? It's something I could experiment with, though. Like, it's totally possible I could go even earlier. But I just feel like I'm used to where I'm at right now, so that's why I don't really want to change that. It's just like, I just don't want to. You know what I mean? And there's another thing, too, where mentally at work, at school was the same way. I really liked a late lunch. An early lunch, it just really does not. It makes the day seem so much longer. And I don't know if there's much objectivity to that. It may just be all silly emotion and human perspective kind of nonsense, gibberish. But I've heard a lot of other people have the exact same consensus. So I know I'm not alone. It's just kind of weird. Because I probably could take my lunch at like 11:30, But it's just nice at work to take a late lunch. Like, I don't know why. It just always... And again, even when I was in school, it was like that. Because some years I would have an earlier period for lunch, and other years I wouldn't. And I always liked the late lunch. Like, I don't understand how that works. You know what I mean? Because I'm not the type of person where I just fall for perceptive things. Like I said, I'm close to calling Monday my favorite day of the week, and that's perceptive. And I'm close to calling Friday my least favorite, and that's because it's also perceptive. I don't fall for those things, yet it's such a strong thing that taking a late lunch just feels so much better. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's, I don't know that I'd really want to or be able to change that. Well, no, stop. I'd be able to change it. I just don't know that I want to. But, sorry, this is like such a waste of time. The whole point is, that I live such a serious life. Like, I can't even imagine. I used to eat dinner. Like, I used to come home from work and have a nice meal. And I could do that now. Like, I could easily just eat another meal if I wanted to now. You see what I, like, that would be no problem. I could have a pizza even after my 2 meals a day. That would be amazing. Like, every single day I could eat a pizza, you know what I'm saying? And then have ice cream every single day. And I think I've forgotten. Like, I think I just don't think about it. But I am so much less indulgent than the average person. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I usually, most weeks, I only eat sugar on the weekends, period. And then I also only eat, like, pizza on the weekends. So, like, the entire week, I never have any fun food. It's just my regimented thing, my beef, eggs, cheese, butter, which is tasty, don't get me wrong. You know, it's not like it isn't tasty, but it's a meal trying to optimize for nutrition at a minimal cost, and it's very mechanical, and it's the same thing. Most people would never even bother to do it, but I'm doing it. And it saves me tons of money because, you know, variety is a luxury. But for most people, I don't think variety is a luxury. It's an essential, and they can't really conceive of not having a luxury. I guess just, I don't know if you want to call it spoiled or what it is, but I kind of find it odd that I'm the only person that I've ever met who can just eat very repetitively. I even think in general, even within the carnivore community and whatnot, I have a feeling most people do not do the amount of repetition that I do. I mean, they might do different cuts of meat and different types of fish and things like that. But I really am on the same. It's really the same. It is really and truly just the same food every single day. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's crazy. Isn't that crazy? I think it's something. I definitely think it's something. And it saves me so much money. And I also waste zero food. Like, I have literally never wasted any food. I think there may have been one time in the past year that I had to throw out a minuscule amount of beef. And I can't even remember if I threw it out or I just ate it anyway. Like, I can't even remember. But if I did throw, like, it was not much. It was like barely anything. And so I literally never waste any food. Like, and I feel like I'm surrounded by people where that's all I see constantly, you know? And I guess that's just foreign to me, but I think it's a pretty common thing that people do. Like, obviously nobody tries to waste food, but I just hear people talk about it. I've heard so many people talk about it and get into it, and I don't understand. But again, I mean, I'm not supposed to be judging. Like, I'm not supposed to be negative anymore, but I just don't get it, because, like, it just, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get how that's possible, because I literally never. Like, is it I think it is that strange that I buy my food once a week and I finish it with perfect timing and with perfect amount. Like, I guess that is strange. I guess it's strange that I can say exactly the amounts of food that I buy and how much I eat per day and per week. Because I've never known. I mean, most people, like, you ask them those kind of questions and they don't know. So I've never. So I guess that is pretty exceptional. But again, to me, it's I mean, what else would I do? Why would I not do that? It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, the reason why people don't do it is because they can't eat the same things. They have to have variety, which that's like a whole other thing I can't comprehend. But they hate repetition. They love variety, and so it does get a lot more complicated. Like if you wanted to memorize all your amounts and portions for like a myriad of vegetables and various, But knowing me, I probably would still because I would probably have different weekly lists that I would cycle through. But yeah, I guess it is a little bit difficult if I didn't have any distinct like week A, week B, week C, week D. And if it really was just entirely random, I guess that's just how people operate, right? They just go to the food store and just find random things. I mean, again, it's all stuff that's very foreign to me. I don't understand, and especially with the pinch of the cost of living, you would think people would start to care and think of more efficient systems, and I would certainly benefit from people doing that. And I guess that's where some of my resentment comes in, because it's just my life would be better if other people operated like me and we had systems in place for this kind of stuff. So I just don't get it. Like, I still don't get it, but I guess I have to just look past it and just focus on myself and be happy that I'm doing good, and that's all that needs to be. Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of the direction I'm trying to head in with this stuff. I'm trying to not be as negative. It's difficult, though. It's a daunting task, especially for somebody who sees as much as I see. Like that's not something that's just coming easy. It doesn't come easy at all, but I think it's better. One of my main concerns is that there could be ways I could help people, and then it ends up causing problems because I didn't tell them something. But that usually doesn't happen. Like, I actually can hardly remember. Isn't that crazy? I've given a lot of really good information, but I can almost never remember anybody listening to a thing I say. Isn't that crazy to think about? Like, I've introduced people, and not because I was trying to give unsolicited advice. It was just in conversation. I've introduced people to so many good ideas, and nobody's ever listened to a thing I without fail. Wow, I'm like just having that realization. And it's strange because the amount of good information I have, and I've said, you would think, yeah, not a lot of people, but some people. I really don't think anybody listens to like anything I say. There's a negative thought. I'm having the negative thought again. Yep, this is gonna be something. But I do want to finish the thought at least. I did want to finish the thought, but I might have forgot. But one person I knew, I mentioned the thing about stomach breathing instead of shoulder breathing for running because it's supposed to be more efficient, and one person listened to that on the whole track team. Everybody else just had nothing to say, and just I don't even know what. So it's like when I hear these things, I go, oh yeah, I want to do that. That's better. Like I'm always, when I was just thinking of this today too. Like I think, oh, I research. Well, what's the best fabric for a shirt? Merino wool. Oh, I'll get that. What's the best this? And I look it up and I'm like, oh, I'll do that. Apparently, people don't operate like that. Like I don't. I guess I can't envision that, not wanting to be the best, or at least not wanting to know what the best is. I don't know how to explain it, but I've always wanted that. Like there's never been a time I haven't wanted to at least know what the best is. I mean, yeah, I don't know. But it's been schla, and now it's time to buy schla. So, see you schla.